Hello out there to the fellow stargazers. Friends, lately I have rediscovered a love for astronomy and astrology, and I'm also a student of the multiple myths of this world. I'm sort of a philosopher, and as you might know, many myths in the world are related to what's up in the heavens, to the stars and the planets. And so I'm hoping that each week I could potentially share with you what wonders are present in the night sky for the week and what global interplanetary mythologies connect with the night sky. And the hope is to bring some divine inspiration and creativity for all of us. So for my astronomical info, I like the website called Earth Sky Tonight. I think they do an incredible job of sharing quickly, just like we check the weather, what is happening in the night sky. And so I encourage you to check that out, and it'll be in the show notes as well. And on the other hand, I said that the night sky, as this series, the Mythic Sky Tonight, uses the word myth. And so what is myth? And in the Western Hemisphere, myth is often considered with ancient stories, which are just stories, even if they are interesting. But in fact, as you become a philosopher, as you become a spiritual practitioner, you probably know this, that myth is a coded information. It's a codex. And in my view, myth gives us information from a higher order understanding, from a higher order realm and dimension, which can then be downloaded as we contemplate the myth, can be downloaded in our being. And through that, we can birth creativity and new solutions. Because otherwise, we as humans are lost in our mental psychological narratives. You know, we have very intense and passionate stories about what's just happening in my head and the people and images that I see in my head. And right now we have genocides happening on this planet. We have wars happening on this planet. And this was part of my inspiration in my heart to connect with something that's beyond this limited human narratives. Because in these wars, in these genocides, I see debates happening all over the internet where we're very passionate, but these are cyclical narratives which do not give us solutions to what could be the future of humanity. So this is just one way to expand our perspective and our horizons, to download new creative insights and divine inspirations for what could be a future of well-being for all, a future guided by our heart and by love, and not by violence and revenge and old stories where we're just locked in our psychological mindset. And so with that, what is happening in the sky tonight? As you know, June 6th was the new moon. So today, on June 8th, we have the waxing moon crescent tonight as we look at it. And also you would be able to see two bright stars, Pollux and Castor, which belong to the constellation of Gemini, which you might know from astrology, but also from mythology. And so these stars are known as the twins in ancient Greek mythology, but they are a little different. Pollux is the bigger star, which has a little bit of a reddish hue and a golden light, whereas Castor is white and is smaller. And interestingly, in Greek mythology, Pollux and Castor were brothers born from an egg and were the result of the mating of the god Zeus with a human named Leda. So to represent this mating of a god and human, Pollux was immortal and the brother Castor was a mortal. And in the Greek mythology, there are many adventures in the Iliad and other books of their adventures of Castor and Pollux. And in one of these adventures, and there are many different variations of this myth, in one of these stories, Castor gets killed. And Pollux mourns the loss of his brother, and because he has such devotion and love for his brother, he pleads with his father Zeus to allow Pollux to be with Castor in some way. And Pollux pleads with his father to somehow allow Pollux to be with Castor, even if he has to die and lose his immortality and become immortal. So Zeus, impressed by his son's devotion and love for his brother Castor, gives him a different solution, a creative solution, where the two brothers can alternate between Mount Olympus, which represents the realm of the gods, and the underworld, which represents the realm of humans. So I feel that this myth has some deep undercurrents, and I will be contemplating But one of the obvious thing is the interconnection of the human life between our sort of immortal conception and connection to immortality, and our constant quest to become sort of immortal through whether it's through technology and transhumanism or spirituality. And on the other hand, the paradoxical relationship with our own death and mortality. So also in ancient Greek and Roman cultures, they are considered, Pollux and Castor are considered deities, and they were represented by the form of horses and horsemen, and often driving a chariot together. And also there are temples built in. And in that culture, the sailors and travelers often would pray to these deities when they were lost on sea or during their travels. And often on the ocean, they might see St. Elmo's fire, which was an electrical phenomena that would give them a sign of divine protection. So that to me inspires me to put a prayer out for divine inspiration and protection through the times that we are in. And also, lastly, this particular myth is not just unique to Greece, but also there are Ashwins. But also in ancient India, in Indian astrology and mythology, there is the presence of two horsemen, actually, the Ashwins, the horsemen twins, which are related with the constellation of Gemini, which also have to deal with healing and strength and guidance. So quite perhaps a coincidence in terms of comparative mythology from Greece and ancient India. So as we gaze upon the twins of Gemini, I hope that you will connect with this myth, and maybe through this connection and contemplation, we will receive creativity and divine inspiration to solve the various problems that we face in our civilization today. And before we conclude, another very interesting body in the sky today is, and for the month of June, is the planet Jupiter. As a kid, I was fascinated with planet Jupiter. It is one of my favorite planets. And I remember looking into the encyclopedia called the Popular Science Encyclopedia back in the 1980s that belonged to my father. I would look at the image of the planet Jupiter and read information about it. What fascinated was that it was 1,300 times bigger than the planet Earth, which just sparked my imagination of what it would mean to go there. And a few years ago, I believe 4 or 5 years ago, we had this amazing planetary conjunction where Jupiter was very close to the planet. I don't know if you remember or not. But anyways, interestingly, in India, Jupiter is related to the Guru planet, or the planet of spiritual guidance. And in parallel, in Sufi mythology, which is connected with ancient Persia, Greece, and also the Muslim, mystical Muslim pantheon, it is considered with the word buzurg, which also refers to guidance, and also the divine vibration and name Rab, Ya Rab, which invokes this connection with the planet Jupiter. So with that, friends, let me know what are your thoughts about this series. Does that inspire you? Do you want me to share my own explorations of the mythic sky from our very earthly perspective? What other kinds of information you might want me to share around the connection of astronomy, astrology, and our mythic imagination? And imagination here, not as an imaginary, but our creative potential to what we can potentially create on this planet, where we have, again, genocides and wars going on, which is hurting all of us. So thank you for listening, and let me know what you think. Okay, good night.